Okay, I think I'm recording. All right, so let me say this before I start. Um, I'm a little sick. I think I'm in the early stages of a flu or something. I'm having some issues right now. Right now, I'm not feeling the greatest, but and my voice is gonna sound nasalier than normal. So, um, all right, so I usually don't feed too much into celebrity drama. Most of the time, I don't believe any of it. A lot of it feels uh, engineered or like choreographed. It doesn't feel sincere. Um, I'm not saying this feels sincere, but I am going to say that this feels. It feels familiar, like I've seen this before. This isn't just some situation between a celebrity and their kid. This is friends that I've known. This is family members that I've had. This is myself. This is a lot of people. Um, this situation feels very real, only because the material is very real, very common. um, so I've been seeing a lot of people rail this kid. A lot of people rail this dude, man. Marquise, I believe Jackson. Um, Marquise Jackson. I said I believe because I don't know what his last name is, but I believe it's Jackson, unless I'm wrong. Um, but this is 50 son apparently, so he's been going on a PR circuit of sorts, railing 50, talking mad shit about 50, which is always a dangerous game because when I was growing up, I remember 50. I remember the kind of guy 50 portrayed himself to be. Not only that, but some of the antics that he got into started to border weird. Like I believe was it DJ Khaled? DJ Khaled did some shit to him, and he felt like it got to a point of being personal. And I believe he went to I don't know whose house it was, but he went to somebody's house, man. Like he went to somebody's mama house, man. Like so that dude is known for having a very strange sense of humor. And so for anybody to come out of their mouth to 50, it just feels like I feel like there's nothing more dangerous than a man who has the resources but also the reputation for being who he is. So nothing is out of bounds, so but me being the novice to this shit, I'm thinking, this is son, how far could this possibly fucking go, right? And then he comes out and says, I don't love this dude at all. I have no love for him. And for anybody to say that about their kid, I don't care what the situation is. He said this. This has been a thing for a long, long time. You don't just, I don't care if it was 10 years ago. You don't just all of a sudden not give a fuck about your kid. You may feel hurt. You may want to hurt them, but you never stop loving them. That's different. That goes into a territory where I don't know, man. It's almost like, are you a human being? Because either when it comes to your kids, man, either you still love them regardless of what you go through, or you never loved them to begin with. And I'm not. I'm sure there are people out there who have children and they don't give a fuck about their children. I'm talking whether the kid lives or dies. They it's no sweat off their back. I believe there are people out there like that. You know, it's a lot of shitty fucking people out there. And if 50 is saying this shit about his son, either it's a lie or he's never had love for his son at all. Now, the reason why I say this is because let me just say this on the part of Marquise. For the part of Marquise, like in defense of Marquise, let me say that. He's 25 years old, sure, mid 20s, whatever, sure. But when I listen to him talk, it doesn't. I'm not looking at a 20 something year old kid talk, or a 20-year-old man, whatever, talk. I'm not. That's not what I'm seeing. You know. And for people that's talking shit about this dude, talking about, oh man, he got his mom's energy. So let's just take 25-year-old Marquise out of the equation. Like his image, take him out, right? And let's put a 5-year-old kid there. You know, let's put a 10-year-old kid there. Let's put a 15-year-old kid there. It hits different. And the only reason why people are saying what they're saying about this dude is because of his age. They're saying, oh, well, you should have gotten over it by now. You know, you're a grown man. And, you know, like, I say this all the time. We all, not just a few of us, everyone at this point in their life, they lie to themselves 90% of the fucking day. Every single day. You're lying to yourself about something. Oh, I'm a good person. Oh, I care about this. I care about that. No. You're lying. If you're not lying about one thing, you're lying about a whole host of other things. We're all constantly lying to ourselves. And this is why I think having the ability to voice some concern, some opinions about some trauma, some issues that you have is important, because I think it will cut into so much drama, so much violence. I mean, I've seen my fair share of these quote unquote thugged out guys who are hard and they're so tough and they don't give a fuck about nothing and they're willing to hurt anything. You know, and all that screams to me is, I needed love at a young age. I didn't get it. And so now my frustration, my anger, I'm going to force that shit on everybody else. That's what that seems like to me. Because when you break it, when you talk to somebody and you break that shit down to to the minerals, you break that shit down to the atoms, you're going to see a common theme. It's hurt, pain, anger, frustration, neglect. And where do I think Marquise falls into this? I think he was neglected, man. When Marquise was born, this was around the time that 50 was starting to blow up. This was around the time that 50 started to pretty much be put on the map. And when you have a career that's launching into the stratosphere, like being a rapper and being a new hot rapper, it eats so much of your time. It eats so much of everything that you have to put into it. Other things are going to be deprived. And I honestly believe, I don't know this for sure. I could see this being the case, that 50's life was in such a fucking tornado. Everything was happening all at once that it kind of like, some things had to be pushed to the side. And in 50's defense, I understand, you know, you put money into it, but people acting like him putting money into an account, 1.360 whatever amount of money into a fucking account to take care of your kid. Oh, he did everything he was supposed to. No, when you're a fucking father, you're supposed to be there for your kid. When you're a mother, you're supposed to be there for your kid. No amount of money is going to make up for that. I'm sorry. It just won't. And do I think that Marquise is doing this because he wants money? No. Fuck no. No. Like I said, this does not look like a 25-year-old man yelling this shit. This looks like a hurt little kid who never got over being abandoned. And that's pretty much what he was. And why would he have a high opinion of his father? His father most likely was never around, so the only person that he could learn anything about his father was Well, two ways he can learn about his father: through the media and through his mom. Like those are the only avenues that this dude would have had to be able to come to some kind of understanding about who his father was. You know, listening to his music, watching his movies. You know, like these are the ways that this guy can get close to his dad is through the stories of other people or through the stories of his father, but not being in his father's life. It's weird, man. And for people not to understand that, to think and see, this is why I say the value system today is money. Money is the value system today. Money is the value. Your value is completely tied to what it is, how much you financially generate. That's where your value is. It's become such a self-indulgent, materialistic world that we live in, to the point where a dude can't even have issues with their famous parent for not being there because everybody thinks that he just wants money. And when I hear him say $6,000 isn't a month isn't enough, what I believe he's saying is, bruh, it takes more than that shit to be a fucking parent. You can't expect me to love you and to care about you and to heap praise on your name when all you're doing is paying me off to stay fucking in the background. Like, that's pretty much what he was doing. That's pretty much what 50 was doing. And this is from a guy, like, I don't really get involved in this shit, but the reason why I started to feel some type of way about this was everybody was railing this kid. Oh, he just wants the money. Why would 50 want to care about this dude when all he does is talk shit and do everything to antagonize him? You know what? He's doing it for fucking attention. He's doing it for attention. And I read a story that said he that he would pay, since people thought that $6,000 a month was a lot of money. He would pay $56,000 to just spend a day with him and do shit with him that he wanted to do when he was a fucking kid. It was a story. It was some shit, bruh. And it's like, motherfuckers don't care about that. This is like, I have my issues, man. I didn't have a father. I didn't even talk to my dad until I was 16. He was locked up for most of my life. I wasn't even raised by my mom, to be honest. You know, she had her drug problems or whatever. I mean, I was in and out of group homes and I was in and out of house to house or whatever. When it came to family members and shit like that, like I have my issues with my parents as well, but I love my mother. And although I have my issues with the way that she conducts her relationship with me, I don't doubt for a second that my mom doesn't love me, you know. Even if she doesn't say it, you know, her actions, you know, sometimes I can tell, okay? And it would destroy me if my mother was to say, I don't love you, or I've never loved you, or I have no love for you. That shit would destroy me. It would destroy anybody, man. It would destroy anybody. You know, some people may lie about it, like, oh, man, fuck that bitch, I didn't care about her anyway. But it would destroy any kid or any child of a person to hear that person say, I don't love this nigga, man. Why would I want to love him? And then he tried to use some philosophical quote like that's supposed to be deep or something by saying, let me see if I can remember it exactly. How many times are you gonna love something or how much time are you gonna invest into something that doesn't love you back or some shit like that? Like, bruh, this is your kid, man. Until the day you fucking die, you're supposed to try to make that shit work. And 50 always struck me as a proud dude. 50 always struck me as a proud dude. I don't know if there's ever been a time where 50 was 100% wrong in a situation where he held himself accountable. 100% accountable with no caveats. 50 strikes me as a guy from everything that I've seen from him and the way he conducts himself in relationships and in his interactions as a proud dude, you know, like even if I'm wrong, I'm gonna handle this shit in a way where I'm gonna have public opinion on my side. Even if 50 was wrong, man, most of the time 50 came out on top because of how charismatic he was, how funny he was. It's almost a humor on a scale of unbelievable. Like this nigga in 2000 was talking about murdering a whole bunch of people. It's funny, like genuinely funny. You know, like comedic timing and everything. Like he's a funny guy. You know, and I enjoy his content. Whenever he posts some shit, you know, making fun of something or somebody, man, like that Ja Rule thing where he bought 200 tickets front row, which is still the most pettiest fucking thing I've ever seen, but hilarious. I mean, that shit was funny. But he strikes me as a proud dude that would never admit when he's wrong. But when you have people, and I don't know if he abide by these or adhere to these principles, but when you have people who, who follow the code of the 48 laws of power, you never admit that you're fucking wrong. It makes you admitting you're wrong or being, trying to hold yourself accountable for mistakes is weakness. To that book is fucking weakness. And most of these dudes, man, I would not be surprised if they read this shit. They read this shit in order to before they get to a position where, they're like 50, where they're owning shit. Like they would. I'm pretty sure they read this book, man. That's how the rich stay rich, man. That's how the rich stay rich. And I don't know. I just whenever I hear this kid Marquise talk, it always feels very familiar. Because I'm pretty sure that if you set down just your regular Joe Schmo hustler or, whatever, like if you sit them down and if they feel comfortable enough to open up, most of the time the stories are very similar or they're similarly themed, even if different shit happen. And this is just my opinion. And anybody could pull up something. Well, he said this or he said that or he did this and he did that. Sometimes you gotta read between the fucking lines. Sometimes you gotta read between the lines. And if this is a real thing that's being aired out over social media, if this is a real fucking thing, it's sad, man. Because all it screams to me is a dude that wanted love, that still needs love, and right now they're at a stalemate because 50 is too proud to make the move, and Marquise is probably too fucking confused to actually know how to reconcile. And anything that he says or does that tries to come close to any kind of connecting or reconnecting or whatever, it's gonna come off as petty or weak, or whatever. Or 50 can use that shit against them. Like, I don't think this is about money. I think this is about, a father handling his business. Now, I'm not saying the mom is completely absolved. I'm pretty sure, and I don't think anybody should be fucking doing this, I'm pretty sure the mom filled the kid's head up with all types of shit. But when the father's not there to shoo away or debuff all of these fucking, or refute all of these claims against his name by his mother, what else are you supposed to fucking think, man? Like, it's weird, bro. It's a strange situation, man. But I do think letting it go is probably what's best for him, because dealing with 50, it's like getting blood from a stone, man. I don't think 50 will ever concede and give him what he wants. And I think it's too late now because this thing is so fucking public. I think 50 has already planted his feet and he won't be moved. So the only thing Marquise can do at this point is try to find a way to work through it. And it's going to be hard, man. Because when you never had a relationship with a parent, it's hard once you get older. Like me, I tried to reconnect or connect with my father. Well, how old was I? Like 20, 21, something like that. I didn't like who this dude was. Now, if I was a kid, I probably would have worshipped the ground the dude walked on. Because when I was a kid, I was a lot more impressionable. I would have ignored a lot of the bullshit. But me being 20 and me being able to think for myself, I didn't like this dude at all. I didn't like the person he was, and I didn't want to be around him and expose him. I didn't want to expose myself to his presence, and if I ever had kids, I didn't want to expose my kids to this dude. So I had to cut ties. I don't think he's ever tried to contact me, which is fine, and I've never tried to contact him. So it hurts still, man, because I didn't have the stability as a child that every kid should have, and I don't think this Marquise dude did either. I think that he got the short end, just like a lot of people. But there are two camps that are railing this kid right now. It's the camp that don't understand, will never understand, just can't possibly understand what this dude is going through, versus the camp that does understand, but because they felt forced to let it go and move on, instead of dealing with that, they think he should too. And I just hope that he finds a way past this. I hope it doesn't go any further than just words. But 50 has already said he doesn't care about this dude, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes past that. But yeah, that's just my thoughts, man. From what I was seeing, from what I was hearing, and from what I understand about trauma and neglect and all that, and the kind of prison that you can be placed in unwillingly, it's hard, man. And whenever you try to voice these kind of, as a grown man, when you try to voice these kind of issues with people, it always comes off as weird, because these type of things need to be dealt with as a child. But because you didn't deal with it as a child, and you're trying to get some kind of justice, some kind of retribution for the wrongs that have been done, or what you feel the wrongs that have been done, it comes off as weird, And I just hope that he's able to find his way through it. That was it, man. That was it. I'm done.